There was an empty chair at my grandmother's birthday. No one said my name, but everyone knew why it was empty. For 28 years, I was the family scapegoat. If something broke, I had done it. If someone was angry, it was because of me. If there was tension in the house, somehow, I became the reason. At first, I believed them. Children always do. When you're small, you think your parents know everything. If they say you're difficult, you must be difficult. If they say you're selfish, you must be selfish. If they say you're the problem, then maybe the whole family would finally be happy if you disappeared. My older brother was perfect. My younger sister could do no wrong. And me, I was the one who always caused trouble. The funny part was, I actually tried harder than everyone else. I cleaned the house. I got good grades. I stayed quiet. I apologized for things I didn't even understand. I thought if I became good enough, they would finally love me. They didn't, because the scapegoat isn't chosen for what they do. They're chosen for what the family needs. Someone has to carry the blame. Someone has to hold everyone's anger. Someone has to become the storm so everyone else can pretend the sky is clear. And that someone was me. I remember one Christmas, a glass vase fell and shattered. I wasn't even in the room. My father looked at me and said, "What did you do now?" I opened my mouth. Then I closed it again, because I realized it didn't matter. The decision had already been made. That day I stopped defending myself. Years passed. School ended. I got a job. I moved out. But somehow the role followed me. Every phone call ended with guilt. You never visit. You've changed after everything we've done for you. Every family gathering felt like walking into a courtroom where the verdict had already been decided. And somehow, I was still the criminal. One evening, my mother called. She spent 20 minutes telling me how disappointed everyone was. Apparently, my cousin had failed university. My aunt was angry. My brother wasn't speaking to my father. And somehow, this was also my fault. I looked at my phone. I looked at the wall. And for the first time in my life, I laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was impossible. I wasn't even there. Yet I was still carrying the blame. That's when I understood something. They didn't need me. They needed the role I played. Dark psychology has a name for this: the family scapegoat. One person absorbs the conflict so the rest of the system doesn't have to face itself. If the scapegoat leaves, the family has to look at the real problems. And many families would rather lose a person than lose the illusion. So one quiet Tuesday morning, I made a decision. I stopped answering. No long speech, no dramatic goodbye, no revenge, no final argument. I simply became unavailable. No contact. The first week felt strange. I kept checking my phone, waiting for someone to ask if I was okay. Nobody did. The second week, the messages changed. You think you're better than us. You've become cold. You've abandoned your family. The third week, they stopped asking questions. They started telling stories. Apparently, I was selfish, ungrateful, cruel, the villain. And honestly, that hurt, because a small part of me still wanted them to understand, but they couldn't. If the scapegoat stops carrying the blame, someone else has to pick it up. A few months later, I met an old family friend. She looked surprised. She smiled and said, "You seem happier." I didn't know how to answer, because happiness wasn't the right word. The right word was quiet. For the first time in my life, I wasn't explaining myself. I wasn't defending myself. I wasn't fixing problems I didn't create. I was just living. Sometimes people ask me, "Don't you miss them?" Of course I do. I miss the family I wished I had. I miss the version of them I invented to survive. But I don't miss being the target. I don't miss waking up every morning wondering what I did wrong. I don't miss apologizing for existing. If you were the scapegoat, you probably know this feeling. You walk into a room and immediately scan everyone's mood. You think every argument is somehow your responsibility. You believe peace is something you have to earn. But here's the truth nobody told you. You were never the problem. You were the container, the place where everyone else left the things they refused to carry. The empty chair at my grandmother's birthday is probably still there. Maybe they still talk about me. Maybe they still blame me. Maybe they always will. But that chair no longer belongs to me. Because one day, the family scapegoat finally left the stage, and the story they told about me had to continue without its main character. They called it abandonment. I finally realized it was freedom.